With Samsung getting closer to launching the Galaxy S26 Ultra, a lot of details and leaks are finally confirmed, making the overall picture much clearer. Some major changes are coming, and this could be the Samsung upgrade we've been waiting for. From new features and battery improvements to a refined design, with the price and release date also starting to shape up. Today, I'll show you what's confirmed, what's actually legit, and how Samsung finally settled the chipset debate. The Galaxy S25 Ultra was a real disappointment. It was a phone that simply didn't live up to what an Ultra is supposed to be. If I'm being nice, I'd describe it as a recycled, overly safe upgrade, with a few downgrades that made many people see it as a step backward, while other brands were pushing boundaries and dropping phones with actual meaningful changes and massive upgrades. Samsung found itself with only one option: come back strong with the next Ultra. That's why the Galaxy S26 Ultra looks like Samsung is finally giving people what they've wanted for a long time, with changes that could make this Ultra worth the hype. It's pretty clear that Samsung actually put in real work this time to make the Galaxy S26 Ultra feel more premium, sleeker, and definitely easier to use day to day. Classic Samsung listening to its fans, the phone is lighter and thinner, with more rounded corners and chamfered edges, which makes it way more comfortable in the hand and adds a genuinely elegant look. As for colors, this year we have 4 options: white, silver, black, and purple. And the most obvious change? Samsung finally ditched those fake camera rings and replaced them with a prominent camera island. It actually looks premium. With this redesign, the phone just looks so much better. But looks aside, the real question is this camera island just for aesthetics, or are there actual camera upgrades hiding underneath? Of course, Samsung made changes, but as usual, they didn't go for a full-blown revolution. Instead, we're getting small tweaks, some great and some honestly disappointing. The phone still uses a quad camera setup, but with some meaningful improvements. The main 200-megapixel camera now gets a wider f1.4 aperture, which means around 47% more light compared to the f1.7 lens on the S25 Ultra. In real-world terms, that translates to brighter shots, better detail, and much stronger low-light performance. The 5x telephoto also gets an upgrade, moving to an f2.9 aperture, roughly a 38% light improvement over the previous f3.4 lens. As for the ultra-wide camera, it stays at 50 megapixels with no changes. On paper, that might sound underwhelming, but taken together, these tweaks should noticeably improve the overall camera experience. But here comes the real disappointment. The 3x telephoto lens, according to Ice Universe, will remain at just 10 megapixels, and worse, the sensor itself is smaller. That's a clear step backward from Samsung, especially when competitors are making major leaps in zoom cameras, while Samsung is playing it extremely safe on the hardware side. Honestly, that's a hard decision to defend. Come on, Samsung. Now, let's move away from cameras and talk about some genuinely exciting leaks. Samsung displays continue to pull further ahead of the competition. Next year, Samsung is bringing massive upgrades to stay on top of the smartphone display game. The Galaxy S26 Ultra will keep the 6.9-inch dynamic AMOLED display, but it'll be packed with new technologies, including the M14 panel and COE display tech. These upgrades bring more accurate, sharper colors, much better power efficiency, which directly translates to longer battery life. Also, the S26 Ultra display will get new privacy display features as well. All of this keeps Samsung's display at the very top. While these new technologies enable higher brightness levels, Samsung will still cap peak brightness at 2600 nits, and the reason is clear: aggressive focus on power efficiency. With these new display technologies consuming significantly less power, this trade-off actually makes sense, and paired with the new chipset, it should lead to seriously impressive battery life. Because guess what? Yep, Samsung is sticking with the same 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Instead of increasing battery size, which is what most of us want, Samsung is choosing to limit hardware power consumption instead. That said, there is a big change in charging speeds. Wired charging jumps from 45 watts to 60 watts, and the S26 Ultra will finally support Qi 2 wireless charging at 25 watts thanks to built-in magnets. This is a long overdue upgrade. But the real upgrades are in the processor, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. Before we get to the price and release date though, we need to talk about the chipset controversy. Exynos or Snapdragon? It's settled. There's no difference between the US market and the rest of the world. The Snapdragon chipset is the only one globally. That's what most of us wanted. But as I explained in a previous video, this is also one of the reasons Samsung still feels a bit held back. We don't get those massive, bold changes. Samsung keeps playing it too safe. That's exactly why we're not seeing big jumps in areas like camera hardware. Samsung almost always goes for the strongest chip available, even if that means cutting back on other upgrades. For Samsung, performance comes first, especially when they're going head-to-head with Apple and the iPhone. So yes, the S26 Ultra does bring clear improvements over its predecessor, but let's be real, it's a solid upgrade, not a full-on revolution. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. The Galaxy S26 Ultra will be officially unveiled at Samsung's Unpacked event this January, with availability expected around mid-February. As for pricing, it'll start at $1,299, with no increase over the previous generation. Want more leaks? Check out the next video. Leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.